All right, welcome back to the best training channel on YouTube, At the Track. Today, we're gonna do some sprints. I'm actually going to be racing Will Ratelle today. So Will hit me up on Instagram probably a week or two ago. We were just talking about numbers and what he's been doing with his sprint training recently. And since he's only had access to about 30 meters of turf or track wherever he's at, he's mainly been focusing on like 10-yard accelerations and 20-yard accelerations. The problem is Will is like me and he trains by himself a lot of the time. So he doesn't have numbers to compare that to. So last week I was doing 20-meter sprints and I timed it out and I sent it to Will. But rather than trying to convert what that time would be into yards, I've set up today a 20-yard setup the same way that Will has been doing his. And I'm gonna run some numbers and then send them over to Will. So the way that Will has been doing his 20-yard accels, he's been giving himself a 1-yard lead into a 20-yard acceleration. So I've got my free lap cones set up to where it's allowing me to get 1 yard lead in, and then I've got my last cone set up at the 20-yard mark. So because I'm using a meters measuring tape, I don't have the ability to get it out. So according to Google, 20 yards is 18.288 meters. So I have measured out 18.29 meters and I've put my cone in the right spot to make sure that the timing eye clicks right at that 20-yard mark. So even though I'm gonna be doing some accel work, 20 meters and 30 meters, the cones are just gonna be there catching that first 20-yard distance so I can have something to compare towards Will and then send that over to him later. So I'm gonna finish up with a few of my warm-up sets, then we're gonna start busting off some 20s. My plan for today's session is I'm gonna do a couple 20s, a couple 30s, and then probably end with a couple 20s, and then we're gonna go into the weight room and we're gonna start a new strength block for the last block of this training phase, and we're gonna be doing some trap bar, deadlifts, some jumps, and some different variations of some contrast work in the weight room. So warming up, finishing up here, and then we're just gonna start ripping off some 20s. All right, so real quick, I'm pretty sure I did my math right, but I want to get this on film just so everyone knows that I'm not trying to cheat Will and beat him by messing with the system. So 20 yards, which is what Will has been running, is, as you can see here, 20 yards, let it focus, is 18.288 meters. So I'm rounding that up to 18.29. The other thing that I need to measure out is the 1 yard lead in. So 1 yard is going to be right there, 0.914 meters. When using these free lap cones, these cones have an 80 centimeter radius in which they pick up the timing eye when it goes by. So 0.91 meters would be right about here, but I need to add 80 centimeters to that in order to get the cone's timing eye to trigger at that 0.91. So at 0.91 plus 80 puts me at 1.71 meters. In the center of this cone is where this timing chip is at. So that center line of the cone needs to be on 0.71, so 1.71 meters. So that's gonna give me my 1 yard lead in. And then 18.29 meters, which is equal to 20 yards, happens to be exactly at the 20-meter mark. Obviously 1.71 plus 18.29 equals 20, but I still need to get that timing eye to trigger at the 20 and not 80 meters before, or 80 centimeters before that. So I've got this timing eye set up at 20.8 meters. That way that 80 centimeter radius will trigger at the 20-meter mark over here. So I just wanted to get that on film. So I'm doing a 1 yard lead into a 20-yard fly, essentially, even though it's an acceleration. And Will's time was a 2.48, I believe. All right, I'm done with my warm-ups, and I got about 6 total sprints to do today. So I've got the camera set up where you guys can see the lead-in cone. you can see the second orange cone back there, which is gonna be at 20 meters. And then that second timing eye, if you guys can see it, is about slightly past that, at that 80 centimeter mark. So we're gonna run probably, let's say 2 to 3 20s to start off. We'll do another 2 to 3 30s, and then maybe finish with a couple 20s at the end, depending on how intense these are. But I'm always gonna have the cone set up in the same spot, and I'll be timing every single rep. So even when I'm running my 30, I'm still gonna get that time on that for the first 20 meter or 20 yard zone on this fly-in. My prediction, given the fact that Will only has a short distance to work with, he's got probably a lot more exposure to shorter accelerations. He's probably only been doing short acceleration work, where my focus has been more so on the max velocity side. I've kind of been neglecting the acceleration side of things. I'm gonna predict like a 255 is probably gonna be my fastest. So somewhere between 255 up to about a 260, I think is gonna be around my fastest. But we're just gonna start knocking these out and see where I'm at. All right, first rep done. I had to put the mic on my waistband, so you guys probably just got a bunch of wind on that one. All right, rep number 1 was a 258. So right smack dab in the middle of where I thought it would be. That's good for rep number 1. So take about a 2-minute break, and we'll knock out rep number 2 on this. All right, we got rep number 2. I'm gonna do one more 20 before I do the 30s. Rep number 2, 258 again. Mr. Consistent. That one felt faster, but also my right shoe feels loose. It's almost time to get some new spikes, but that one felt good. I think that's faster than a 258. God damn, it was 258 exactly again. All right, we're gonna do some 30s next. Okay, I'm about to run some 30s. I think I'm gonna do 2 30s and then one more 20, or I'll just do 3 30s. I only wanted to do 6 total sprints today because I'm gonna be doing some harder work in the weight room, so I don't wanna absolutely fry myself before I get in there. But my hypothesis, and this is 100% based on bro science, is a t-shirt adds 5/100ths to 1/10 on your time. So I'm gonna run my 30s with my shirt off to prove my theory. So I ran 3 consecutive 258s. What I'm expecting to happen is I'm gonna pop the top, run with the shirt off, and I'm gonna hit a 253. That's the bro science speculation that I have right now. So we're gonna put this theory to the test real quick. We're gonna run a couple 30s, get the times on those, and then we'll see where we're at. What does science say about my theory? I actually got slower. That was a 262. Interesting. We must test this again. All right, rep number 2 on testing the bro science theory of t-shirts make you slow. All right, that one was faster. Ain't no way that was slower. No chance that was slower. Yeah, 255. All right, we're gonna do one more 30. $256. All right, quick summary for today. Excel work is done. 20s, I was able to hit kind of the range that I thought I was gonna be at. So that 255 to 260. I had that 1 rep above 260, which was the 264. And I'm just counting that as kind of a misrep because it doesn't fall in line anywhere near what the other reps were for the day. So what I'm gonna show you guys here is the times, just so we can get this on film and everyone knows that I'm not making shit up. The first 3 reps here, 1, 2, and 3, 258s. That first rep on the 30 was a 262, and then we went down to 255, 256. So I'm just chalking that 262 up as some sort of a misstep. Maybe I just had a bad first couple steps on that acceleration, but for whatever reason, it was considerably different than the rest of the field. So next up for me, we're gonna go into the weight room. Mainly gonna be focusing on a power complex using trap bar deadlifts and doing some jumps in between those sets. I might do sort of like a single leg step up or a split squat variation, just depending on how everything feels. But the main thing I want to get done in the weight room today is the trap bar work and the jump. All right, so before we get into the weight room stuff, I just want to remind you to make sure to like and subscribe on today's video. I did go back and look at the messages between Will and I. He ran a 248 with that 20-yard dash, kind of 1 meter lead in. So just as I expected, I didn't think I was going to get down to a 248 because I haven't putting a lot of effort into that first 20 meters. I've been more focused on the max velocity work. So Will's got me on that. But I am too competitive, and I've made the decision that now for the next few weeks, I am just going to focus on beating Will in a 20-yard dash. So my acceleration days are going to be strictly focused on getting lower than a 248 on that first 20 meters using that same setup. So we'll do the 1 yard lead in. We'll measure to the 20-yard marker, even though I'll probably still be running 20s and 30s for the rest of the remainder of this training block that I've been doing right now. In the weight room though, today, things that I wanted to get done in the weight room was just kind of move some sort of external load very quickly. Because I'm doing block power cleans, I decided I wanted to do a variation of kind of like a clean pull, and I wanted to use a trap bar because it's going to allow me to kind of load that bar up a little bit more. Plus it gets away from being super specific towards the clean. So rather than just doing like clean pulls one day and then cleans again on another day, I'm not too concerned about the clean itself. So just to try to change up a little bit of what that stimulus is, I decided to do a trap bar variation. So a clean pull variation on that, and then pairing it with some sort of a jump. I decided I wanted to do kind of a loaded jump into an unloaded jump. So I did 3 reps of dumbbell squat jumps into 2 reps of a box jump on that. And I ended up just doing 4 sets on that. And that was it for the rest of the day. So because we did a lot of volume on the sprints, ended up doing 6 total reps on that, equaling somewhere around 150, almost 200 meters on all of the sprints. I didn't feel like doing more work in the weight room was going to be beneficial for today versus just putting some extra stuff on a different day where maybe I'm not sprinting as much. So that was this session for today. I appreciate you guys watching the video. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.